Okay, let's make our rotation animation here in Adobe After Effects. Um, just a few kind of little strategies I want to show you when dealing with rotation that you should be aware of. I'm going to open up that previous project I have, the first four animations, and start off by making a new composition. Go into the composition menu, choosing new composition. I'm going to call this rotate. And 640 by 480 is great for my dimensions. Frame rate is 30 frames a second. The duration is 2 seconds. And let's change the background color here. And let's see, we did a pink before. Looks like the last one was green. I like this like pale yellow color. Might be a nice background. Click OK, and then OK. Now let's add a shape. So I could do like a circle, but that's not going to show a rotation very well. So for this, I think the star works best. Can control the fill and the stroke, so I will fill it with white. Hit OK. And then for stroke, click on that color and maybe go for, we've got yellow, so maybe I'll do like a purple stroke. Yellow and purple being complementary to each other. Now we just drag while holding down the shift key to drag out this shape. You hold down shift, like so. And I'm going to line it up in the middle. So to do that, I'm going to use the align window. So look under window and align, and put this star in the center by clicking on the second button, the horizontal center alignment and the vertical center alignment. Now I know right off the bat this anchor point is in the wrong spot. If I want this to rotate, it is going to rotate along this anchor, but I want my star here to just rotate in the center. So to change the anchor point, make sure your layer is selected down here in the timeline, and you're going to hold down the command key on the keyboard and double click on the pan behind tool, which is right next to the star tool. So this little square with these little triangles in it is the anchor point tool. So I'm holding down command, double click, and the anchor point shoots to the center as it should. Looking good. Yep. Okay, so let's rotate this. I'm going to go ahead and add a rotation keyframe. So I want this to start rotating at about 10 frames. And I'm going to do Option R on the keyboard to make a rotation keyframe. And then we're going to use the Uber key, the U, to just show me the rotation. So I'll select my layer, hit U once, U again, so it's just showing me how it's going to rotate. And so at 10 frames, it's going to start rotating. And I want it to stop rotating at, well, let's say this, 1 second. From here, I'm going to type in how many rotations I want. So this first number, the 0x, represents how many full rotations, and then plus how many degrees. So if you only wanted this to go half rotation, you would change just the degrees to 180. But I want this to rotate a few times on that center axis. So there's a couple things to notice here. One thing a lot of students are doing is they want the thing to rotate like really, really fast, right? So for example, I will type in 20 times, hit return. That creates a second keyframe. So it should rotate 20 times from frame 10 to frame, well, the 1 minute or the 1 second marker here. What happens is I scroll through this, nothing happens, right? So I'll hit play, nothing happens. The reason is because from 10 frames to 1 second is 20 frames. I've told it to rotate 20 times. So basically every frame it's rotating once, and so it doesn't even look like it's doing anything. So we're going to come back to this frame here where we dialed in 20, and I'm going to type in now 2. So that should give me a much better rotation. can see it rotating. I'll hit play, and that is going extremely fast. And all we've done is told it to rotate twice. So depending on how long you're stretching out this rotation for, depends on how you want it to look or whatever. Let's stop this. And I'm actually going to stretch this out a little longer so we have more time to work with. So now it's going to rotate over about, a whole second. And hit play. Oh, that's a little smoother. Yeah. Very nice. Even then, probably too fast. So now I'm going to do one rotation over the hit play. So I'll let you experiment with this. To me, that looks better. Awesome. Okay, now let's add some text. Grab the type tool. I'm going to click in here, After Effects. So obviously too big. I'm going to triple click to select all my text. To make it smaller, I'm going to look in my character window and click and drag this number here to the left to shrink it down. Bring it in here. There we go. Fits a little nicer. Write whatever you want for the text. Fine by me. Yep. Now, I want to make sure my anchor points are lined up here because I want After Effects to rotate on the same anchor as the star. So to do that, I'm going to grab my pan behind tool, and without making this too complicated, you don't have to have everything rotating totally perfect or whatever. In this case though, I kind of want to guess where the anchor point for the star is. So I'm going to look back at my shape layer, and it actually looks pretty close. I just need to move it down a little bit. So I've got my anchor tool, the pan behind tool. So maybe to the left a little bit, like so. Yeah, so now the anchor points are the same. Okay, let's make sure things are working correctly here. I'm going to delete this keyframe. I got too many keyframes. Next thing I'm going to do is I could add rotation keyframes, go through all this over again, but since I want After Effects to basically rotate along the same position here, or the anchor point. I just had someone walk in the room. I'm kind of trying to figure out where I left off here. Oh yeah, so rather than having to go through this whole animation process for the text, all I have to do is tell this layer to be the child of this layer. That is why we have this parent option here in the timeline. So the shape layer is one that has all my animation information. That's great. What this is going to do is, so under the text layer, under parent, I'm going to choose shape layer. Now you will see both things rotate at the same time. So pretty powerful option right there. I did not have to redo all that stuff. Very nice to have. So play with this parent option here. Remember, it's the layer that has all the animation already. All the keyframes is what is going to be the parent. So you have to select the text layer, depending on what order you did this in. But this is the child, and so that's the child is going to, you're going to go into that parent menu and tell it what parent this child has. That's it. Kind of cool. Don't forget to ease into these things. I would actually recommend easing out of the initial keyframe. Ease into this position here. And then that'll go a little smoother. Kind of, you can see, especially when it starts, it kind of starts a little slow and does that nice little turn. Looking awesome. Okie dokie. When you're finished, File, Export, Add to Render Queue. name it. So click on the little blue link here. I've got a list. My opacity animation is still there. If I'm done with this, I don't need to render this anymore. You can come in here and select the last thing you rendered. And now in my render queue, I'm going to click on the rotate link here to tell it where to go. I want to put it on my desktop. I'm going to call it rotate. Sure. Click save. And then the last step, always you have to hit render. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Awesome. So once you hear that noise, you're good. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you later.